This gentleman, I can't remember the last time, I don't think I've ever been in the opposite corner to him. You know, I said to him earlier that it's quite depressing that there is someone else in boxing away from the fighters that looks good, and Keith Connolly's one of them. He's a solid 5 out of 10. And I've always been with him in all the fights, obviously with Danny Jacobs, and Keith does such a tremendous job for his fighters. You know, not just that close relationship and that guidance, but also he does what every great manager is supposed to do, which is get as much money, exactly, squeeze the balls, I say tickle the balls, and, you know, and make sure that, like I said, that he gets what the fighters deserve. That's what great managers do. And I've enjoyed over the last couple of years being with him on that journey, and also, you know, shouting for the same fighter on Saturday. The roles are reversed. You know, we're up against one of his fighters, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see those guys supporting their guys and us backing Gennady Golovkin. The manager of Sergiy Derevyanchenko, Keith Connolly.
Thank you, Eddie, for that polite introduction, I think. But he told me I was a 7 backstage, not a 5. So, but thanks everybody for coming today. Felt like yesterday we were here for the kickoff presser. That was about a month and a half ago. Now we're 3 days away from the big event and the biggest opportunity of Sergiy Derevyanchenko's life. And spending the last couple of days with him, I can legitimately say the kid is not nervous. He's as cool as a cucumber, and he's ready for the fight. And you don't have 410 amateur fights and win 390 of them and not have a chance to win the middleweight title against Triple G on Saturday. He's a live underdog. I know he's a 4-1 underdog, but it's going to be a close competitive fight, and he definitely has a chance to pull it out. I'll be quick here because I know you guys want to hear from the fighters. I just want to give special thanks to a few people here. I want to go out of my way, first of all, and thank Lou DiBella. Lou DiBella did a tremendous job in a lot of different ways, made certain moves with the sanctioning body, did a great job negotiating with John Skipper at DAZN, and this fight couldn't have happened without Lou DiBella, so thank you. I want to thank the 2 lawyers that I had a lot of contact with closing up this deal. Alex Dombroff did a great job. He's Lou DiBella's lawyer, and my good friend Sean Palmer that works for Eddie. I want to thank you, Sean Palmer, as well. I want to thank Eddie Hearn, who in my eyes is the best promoter on planet Earth, hands down right now. He's tremendous for the business. He makes the fights and the sport exciting, so thank you, Eddie. Last but not least, I want to thank Al Heyman. He did a great job helping secure this fight. It might not have happened without him at the end. There was one little snag in the deal that he ironed out with GGG Promotions lawyer. And as everybody knows, Al Heyman's the greatest manager in the history of the sport. So I want to thank him as well. Look forward to seeing everybody Saturday night. I think it's going to be a tremendous fight and a tremendous event. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. On to the promoter of Sergiy Derevyanchenko, Lou DiBella. Obviously, probably a year ago right now, you being I guess what I call you now, partner in DAZN, with so many great fighters that we work with, from Tevin Farmer to Amanda Serrano, the list goes on. And I think partnering up and being on Lou DiBella's side is a good thing to do. 1, because he's capable of saying absolutely anything at any time. But 2, he knows the business inside out. You know, I remember probably running around this place as a 10-year-old, bumping into Lou DiBella when he was at HBO, working with my dad. And I always used to think, who's that crazy guy there? And I know. And who would have thought that 30 years down the line we'd be working together? But one thing I'll say about Lou is you will struggle to find someone more passionate about what they do and more passionate about the sport of boxing. And it doesn't matter if it's boxing, football, the stock market, working in a shop on a corner. Anyone that has a passion for what they do should be respected, appreciated and feared. And like I said, it's been great working with Lou DiBella. And I know what Sergiy Derevyanchenko winning on Saturday would mean to Lou DiBella and the team. And that's all part of this event. You've got the 2 teams. You've got Lou DiBella shouting and screaming. You've got us. You've got, you know, Jonathan Banks, great trainer, Andre Rozier. These are all different dimensions of a wonderful fight and a wonderful event. So the promoter of Sergiy Derevyanchenko, Lou DiBella.
Great to be here at the Garden, which I think is clearly reestablishing himself truly as the Mecca of boxing. Always has been, but once again, the dominant venue in New York for boxing. Great to be here with Eddie and with DAZN and with everybody at the Stayus and all of you. Yeah, I am passionate about boxing. Eddie talked about it's hard to get into this and not love it. In some ways, it's also hard to get into this and not hate it. But overwhelmingly, we have a wonderful sport and a sport that's dramatic and theatrical and poetic. And I think that this stretch that DAZN is about to have is a stretch that is good for the sport of boxing. And I with Seth Abraham and Mark Taffet and others, we sort of were the architects of pay-per-view years ago. And unlike some people, I never screamed pay-per-view was dead, but you do have to look at value. And I watched a great fight the other night, and I paid $80 for it. And I got my value because it was a good fight. But to be able to see what you're about to see on DAZN with Triple G and Derevyanchenko Saturday night, and back-to-back-to-back major events, Canelo Kovalev and Andy Ruiz and Joshua, and those would absolutely be pay-per-view events, and they're surrounded every weekend basically for the rest of the year by quality programming, and it's $9 a month. I mean, if you subscribe now for the next 12 months, you're getting the next 3 months at less than $9 a month. It's less than $27. That's about the third of a pay-per-view. And there are 3 fights coming up that would all be pay-per-view, not to mention everything around it. You pretty much, if you're a boxing fan, have to acknowledge the value and subscribe to DAZN and do it now. And you also have to try to get to the Garden on Saturday night because it's going to be a great show. There's great undercard bouts. Triple G Promotions has some of their young talent on the card. There's some very, very good fighters on the card. Mighty Joe Ward, Irish Joe Ward. You can call him multiple nicknames, but I'm happy that you're making your pro debut on this card. You deserve it. You had an incredible amateur career. And by the way, you're going to see a lot of Irish people in the arena on Saturday night because for a kid that's never fought here before, never fought a professional fight, watch how many people are here to support Joe Ward. Ivan Barancek, I promote him, former world champion, under adverse circumstances, went over to Scotland after a lot of confusion and fought a hell of a fight against Josh Taylor. He's on the card against Gabriel Bracero, who's been one of the stalwarts of New York City boxing for a while and a big ticket seller in New York. So the undercard is very, very strong. And I know that myself, Keith Connolly, Al Heyman, Andre Rozier, Gary Stark Sr., by the way, the great Sam Watson, representing on behalf of Al Heyman. And by the way, if we didn't have the fight, we're not able to get that fight with Kulke onto a PBC telecast, we would not have been able to orchestrate our way into this position. And I thank Al and PBC for giving Sergey the opportunity to get here. As great as I think this man is right here, and I think he's one of the greatest of all time, he'll walk into the Hall of Fame on the 5th anniversary of the day he stops fighting, and the greatest fighter ever to come out of his country, one of the greatest fighters ever to come out of Eastern Europe. All good things must end. And we're not bringing Sergiy Derevyanchenko. He's not showing up Saturday night just to compete. He's showing up to win. As great a fighter as Triple G is, he knows what I'm about to say. When you're a great fighter, not every fight in your career do you stand to have a real opportunity not to be successful. You're often not in there with people that belong with you because you're that good. Maybe 5-6 times in a career, particularly these days, hopefully it'll be more than that, and in the future, every fighter will fight the best fights available to him. But Triple G has always done that. He's fought the best fights available to him, and he's always been that much better. He's in the ring Saturday night with a guy that belongs. And our Saturday night, Sergiy Derevyanchenko is going to upset the apple cart. He's going to shock the world, and it's going to be another night that people walk out of Madison Square Garden going, "Wow, what did I just see?" And I hope to see you Saturday night in the Garden. If not, pull down the DAZN app, subscribe. There's never been a time it's been more important if you're a boxing fan to get what's coming up, because $27 for what's happening between now and the end of the year is one of the great bargains in boxing. Thank you.
We move on to the trainer and the fighter of Team Derevyanchenko. This man, great trainer, had the pleasure of working with him throughout our time with Danny Jacobs. May have been a big factor in the Danny Jacobs victory over Sergiy Derevyanchenko. That was an awkward time for all, but now back in the saddle with Gary Stark as well. And this man absolutely believes that his charge can become world middleweight champion on Saturday night. Ladies and gentlemen, the head trainer of Sergiy Derevyanchenko, Andre Rozier.
Hello, everyone. Before I get started, let me just say that we are a team here. It's just not me. I'm just the mouthpiece today. Our team consists of Sergiy Derevyanchenko, my big brother, Gary Starks, Mike Bazell, and our newest acquisition, Balak, the strongest hands on any man I've ever felt in my life. He breaks bones with his fingers. We call them iron fingers or iron hands, however you want to choose it. But this was a fantastic training camp. And you often hear people say, oh, that was the best training camp ever. This was the best. And I repeat, the best training camp ever. Why? Because this young man to my left is the best athlete anyone can ever work with. Anyone. We're fortunate enough to have him in our family. And he knows that. He doesn't say a lot. He's a very quiet individual. It's either yes or no. And sometimes it's a shake of a head. But his work ethic, his dedication to the sport, and his diligence in rising to the top is why he's going to be victorious on Saturday. This young man to my right, I'm going to start calling him nephew because I see him so much. This is the third time we have to see each other. And I think after that, we're going to go down to City Hall and I'll get the paperwork ready and I'll call him Nephew Triple G. But he's a fantastic young man. He's always been a consummate professional when I have had the chance to face him. And this, I would assume, will be the same thing. He's going to come ready to rock and roll, ready to be that special individual. But we have a major, major force that he will be facing on Saturday. And this time, not only for the fact of, but this time it's going to be a truly difficult task for him to overcome. And I want to say one thing about the promotion. This promotion was on its own volition. There was no bickering, no fighting, no ups, downs. His trainer, Jonathan Banks, I mean, if we walked outside here right now and he got into trouble, I'm right behind him kicking and punching. I love this young man because he's a fantastic athlete and a fantastic trainer. This is all about these two guys, this one and this one. And that's why you're going to have a great fight. Two great fighters come together finally to put it on and get it on in the Mecca of boxing, Madison Square Garden. I'm done. Thank you.
Excellent, Dre. Excellent. Love it. I love it. I love it. I love that. You're taking my job. I know that. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. Spoke with passion as always, and he means it. Again, this guy, one of the top amateurs in recent times in world boxing, been a fantastic pro, already challenged and made a great challenge to Danny Jacobs for the world middleweight title. One part of this tremendous fight on Saturday night. Ladies and gentlemen, Sergiy Derevyanchenko.
Всем привет! Мне очень приятно находиться на легендарной арене Madison Square Garden и боксировать в субботу. Это для меня большая честь. У меня был очень хороший кэмп. Мы очень хорошо потрудились со своей командой.
First of all, I want to say hello to everyone. Thank you very much for coming. It's an actual pleasure of mine to fight in the world-famous Madison Square Garden. We've had a phenomenal camp for this fight, leading up to this fight, and I'm extremely motivated.
Saturday night, I'm ready for rock and roll. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergey. We move on to Team Triple G, and I firstly want to say a big thank you to everybody at Triple G Promotions been a joy to work with the wonderful Melissa, the bulldog John Hornemer. Where is he? Don't know, probably watching somewhere. Torsten, thank you for everything. You guys are great people to work with. You truly have Gennady Golovkin's best interests at heart, and I know you'll be supporting him as hard as anybody on Saturday night. To talk on behalf of Triple G Promotions, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Loeffler.
Thanks, Eddie. This is an exciting time. Whenever we have a Triple G fight at MSG, there's always excitement in the air. You see the banner out there hanging right next to Carrie Underwood, who's performing tonight. This will be Triple G's 7th time here at Madison Square Garden. Most fighters dream of fighting here at the Mecca, but to do this for the 7th time, I believe, and Sal or Joel would know, he's the active fighter with the most fights here at the Mecca Boxing at Madison Square Garden. So we're proud of that. We're proud to have built him here at the Garden. He always brings excitement. You see the theme of this show is the big drama show, because regardless of who he fights, what style, he always makes it exciting. Even if the fighter is very defensive, Gennady finds a way to knock them out. He had a 23 knockout streak at one time. He had a historic middleweight championship defenses of 20 title defenses. And tonight, Saturday night, is going to be his 2nd run. He's going after 2 of his titles to become a 2-time middleweight champion of the world. I want to thank Joel Fisher with his unwavering support of Triple G, Sal Federico, who's been tremendously supportive here at Madison Square Garden. They both really got the vision that we had so long ago to where Gennady's at right now, one of the most marketable boxers in the sport of boxing. I want to thank some of our sponsors, Tecate, Chivas, Technodome from Kazakhstan, and also whenever you see Gennady, whether he's training, whether he's walking a red carpet, he's always the best dressed guy in the room. Jordan Brand, and also Bijan, who's been very supportive over his career. With that, I also want to thank the Triple G side, Melissa Moskal, John Hornauer, Torsten Meyer, Janara, everyone on the Triple G side who, big events like this, and Eddie will tell you that, there's a lot of people behind the scenes, whether on the arena side, the promotion side, the television side, and we have a great team at Triple G Promotions. A fight like this wouldn't be possible without the support of DAZN. DAZN signed Triple G to a multi-fight deal. Joe Markowski, John Skipper, I want to thank you for your support of Triple G, really making fights like this possible. This fight is between 2 guys that actually want to fight. And Joe, one thing you'll learn with the relationship with Triple G, he doesn't back away from anyone. Anyone you put in front of him, a lot of people accused him of avoiding Sergey last year, but this fight has been 1 year in the making, and Gennady would be the best partner that you have in terms of, you say you want him to fight a guy, and Gennady will step up to the plate. He's never wavered from that. He's always wanted to fight the best. He considers Sergiy Derevyanchenko one of the best right now, and the guy that's willing to get in the ring with him. This is, again, for championship title fight in the middleweight division. Saturday night, there's going to be a lot of fireworks. Sergey doesn't go backwards. We know his team very well. Lou, I've known for many, many years. Keith Connolly, I've known for a number of years, and also Andre Rozier. Andre has had, this will be the 3rd time at the bite of the Triple G apple. Some people say 3rd time's a charm. I think Jonathan Banks will definitely disagree with that. I see a passion that Jonathan brings, a chemistry that he and Triple G have developed in such a short period of time. The last fight with Steve Rolls was a very short training camp. I think, in fact, the shortest training camp of Triple G's career. The Martirosyan fight last year was a short promotion, but that was the shortest training camp. And the chemistry that they developed, and then they improved upon that for this fight, is tremendous. The schedule that DAZN has come up with this fall, and both Eddie and Lou have talked about it extensively, when you got the top names in boxing fighting on the same network, same streaming service. It's a big statement to where they've come just 1 year in business and having these type of names on the network. Manuel Stewart, who was the tutor of Jonathan Banks, he always said a fight like this, and he did it at many of the Vladimir Klitschko fights, he said, "Welcome to big time boxing." Sergey, it's a middleweight championship of the world at Madison Square Garden against Triple G. Welcome to big time boxing. With that, I want to bring up Jonathan Banks to say a few words about the training camp.
Thank you, Tom. I can't have too much to say after Mark Andre came up here and said what he said and did it the way he did it. So, as always, everybody said, every training camp is a good training camp, as far as I'm concerned. And this one was like all the rest. It was a good camp. And Triple G and I are looking forward to this fight on Saturday night. And I think it's going to be a very competitive fight. I think it's going to be a tooth and nail type of fight. And looking at even for me, way before this fight was announced, I was always looking at Derevyanchenko, and I always thought he was a good fighter. And I just think this is gonna be one of the fights that everybody gonna be keep standing up, sitting down, standing up, sitting down, because I think it's gonna be like another 4th of July when the bell rings. I think it's gonna be another but fireworks. I think just looking at the styles of the two individuals, it makes a good fight. And I was sitting down, I kept looking at my man in the front row with the Gennady Ward shirt on. And I just kept looking at it, thinking about this fight, kept looking at it. And those were two guys, I'm making a reference, and those were two guys that were tailor-made for each other. If you put them anywhere in the world and they fight, they all gonna come out the exact same way. It's gonna be a tooth and nail type of fight. And I believe that this fight is gonna be that tooth and nail type of fight. And Saturday night is gonna be the tell-all of who's gonna gut it out at the end. But overall, it's definitely gonna be a good fight.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Jonathan. We move now to, we know there's two fighters in this fight, but certainly one of the biggest stars in world boxing right now. And it's an absolute honor to be working with this man, because integrity and respect are two words that, we have to be honest, we don't see too much of in boxing nowadays. This is something that this man carries with him at all times. Big drama show, the people's champion. I think there are a couple of ways to describe Gennady Golovkin. I prefer another two, which is role model, ambassador. Someone that we can really pin the sport of boxing to and watch how he carries himself to inspire a younger generation, to promote the sport in the way that it should be promoted. And Tom spoke really correctly about one thing, and this is something for the great journalists that are here today. Don't waste your breath with the question, who will you fight next? Or who would you fight next? The answer is absolutely anyone. And that's why Gennady Golovkin is such a throwback fighter. Anybody. We know what he gave in this obligation, what he committed to in terms of his fight schedule. There is no one in the sport of boxing that Gennady Golovkin will not fight. The future questions of which he gets all the time are totally irrelevant, because the only thing that matters right now is Saturday night. The chance for this man to make history as a two-time middleweight champion of the world. And as someone that's followed boxing for not as long as some people, but over 30 years, having working in boxing virtually every weekend of my life, when I wasn't working with Gennady Golovkin and I'm back in the UK and he's boxing, I will set my alarm to get up. I'm a fan of Gennady Golovkin, and I believe every one of you in here is a fan of Gennady Golovkin, because there's no reason not to be. Excitement, energy, like I said, integrity, respect, all the great things in worldwide sport. And I'm so excited to see him back at the Mecca of boxing on Saturday night. Ladies and gentlemen, bidding to become a two-time middleweight champion on Saturday night, Gennady Golovkin.
Thank you, Eddie. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes. I'm so happy, really, so happy because just great boxing time is coming. I'm happy because my opponent, look at this team, so great, so strong. Everybody is ready. Everything is ready. I want to say thanks people who support boxing, who support me, who support this show, this DAZN company. All my partners, all sponsors. All people who support me in boxing sport. This is a great time for me, a great time for boxing right now. I want to speak like a fighter, like a boxer. I'm ready. I'm so excited. We have a lot of time for great prepare for this event. Please, guys, if you like real fight, don't miss this fight. I see you on Saturday night. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, fellas.
Thank you, Gennady. Thank you, Sergey, as well. And thank you to all the teams involved. Like I said, to Lou, to Alex Dombrov as well, to Keith, for Tom, Melissa, John, Torsten, and our team as well at Matchroom, Sean, Kevin, Frank. The list goes on and on. Anthony Lever as well. Thanks for all your hard work. Two great teams, two great fighters, one great fight on Saturday night. Make sure you're in the Garden on Saturday night, and if you're not, then watch it live and exclusively on DAZN. Thanks for coming. We're going to face the fighters off here now, and we'll see you for a great show on Saturday. Thank you very much.
No green hat. Come on.